Alright, good evening all. How are we on this fine Friday? This week has rushed by. It really has. It's quiet in here today. I guess it is Valentine's Day. If you're watching this back because you were out doing something with a significant other, congratulations. Hope you had a good time. For those of you who are here, sat indoors, good to have you. I love you, even if I was going to say even if nobody else does. That's unnecessarily harsh. I love you despite. No, there's no coming back from that one. I think. Oh man, have we got anyone here? Hey, GN. Good evening, not bad. Hoping to see you talk about Chaos Dwarfs tonight. Yeah, 2 people submitted a Chaos Dwarf list. I have not actually had time to really read through the lists. Like, I've got a vague idea of what everything is because I put them into the army builder. But I gotta say, I'm gonna have to refresh my memory on what a couple of items do because I was looking, I was like, huh, that's not how I remember Chaos Dwarves being written. Good to have you, Callum. Payday waiting for a curry. Ooh, what are you gone for? 14th is the payday. Is that a thing that you do up in Scotland? Down here, we typically have either the last Friday of the month or the 28th. Some people have the 25th, I guess, as well. Unless you've got, maybe you've got fortnightly. That would make sense. Maybe that's why. I've bought myself some glasses cleaners, and unfortunately, now that I've started using like little glasses cleaner wipes, if I don't have one, I'm like, oh, I can see the small specks of dust on my glasses. Whereas before, I just had proper minging glasses and didn't care. No one loves you, but it'll feel better once you get your curry. That's not true. I'm sure someone does. Lord knows it's not me. I don't know why that tickled me so much. Yours was the second submission. You want to see something more classic, dwarves and hobgoblins, and are interested in the thoughts to have the army. Yeah, hell yeah, we'll talk it through. If there's anyone here that isn't going to be here towards the later parts of the stream, shout up, and I will make sure to prioritize your list. Otherwise, we'll just go through in order. Ideally, I'm going to do the high elves towards the end because obviously I haven't been able to put them in an army builder, so I'm going to have to kind of freeball those. I haven't really worked out how I'm doing it because I'm been short on time today between building models, filming videos, all of that good stuff. Because it is High Elf Week after all, so there's going to be a High Elf video every day up until Wednesday, which is good. Tuesday we'll probably have a live stream discussing them with Lewis. I'm just thinking he's going to be keen to talk about them. And we've got one of his lists in here as well. But yeah, I guess we may as well get started. So we've got Jaju's Exiles list here. And I feel like, and I can't remember off the top of my head, I feel like Jaju's... first of all, I feel like I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong. But secondly, I feel like Jaju has put their list in before. Am I talking rubbish? Ooh, it's not on my list, so I think I am talking rubbish. There's just a couple of things in there that look very similar to what I would expect to see. But that's fine. It's just how the company that you work for does your pay. It's annoying since they took over their old ones. Those bastards, eh? I'll say it so you don't have to. Bunch of bastards. Do we have Jaju here? Because I do have a couple of things that I want to double check. Actually, no, this was the more straightforward one. This one made sense to me. I think it was the other Bretonnian list. I had questions that I wanted to ask more. You have an hour or so, might reach your listen time. No worries, we can do your second because you're like actively chatting, so we can get to yours and then we'll do the rest of them. So, what were we looking at here? So, Jeju said, my latest Exiles list, completely omitting magic in favour of powerful fighting characters. I like that. I think that's a really good way to go with Exiles. Not sure about magic items on characters. Would love to fit Frontier Axe with Grommail Helm, but don't know how to achieve that. Casino Baron has double rerolls to fish for 6s to wound, and if needed, those can be used defensively. Yeah, so I actually quite like this character setup. We'll see if we can tweak it. So the Green Knight, we're just going to move to the bottom, because we know what the Green Knight does. We don't need to tweak it at all. The Baron is Charmed Shield, Frontier Axe, Knightly Temper. So this is the Baron that you know and love that that hits incredibly hard. You know, you've got your extra attacks, you've got your Frontier Axe, which is a better Ogre Blade for cheaper. And, yeah, Exile's Vow for those rerolls, all good stuff there. We've got a Baron with Virtue of Heroism, Syrian's Locket, which is just good to have in general. Lucky Heirloom ×2. So these let you reroll a single failed hit or wound, or reroll a single failed armor or ward save. Something key to note is it specifically says failed. So if you wound but you don't get the killing blow, so say you unluckily, say you're wounding on 4s and you roll like 4 4s or 5s and you get no failed wounds, that actually kind of screws you over a little bit. But I think it's good. It's 50 points to get 2 rerolls a turn, which when you're just playing the lottery is pretty interesting. I don't hate it. I am a little concerned that this Baron's just going to die before they get their killing blow off, but maybe not. You know, they've got 4 wounds at T5. That probably just dies to a dragon. If there was going to be a Grommel Greathelm, I'd like to see it in here more than anything else. But then you're losing out on the heirlooms, which is, yeah, I don't know. Paladin. Paladin is a BSB with Falconhorn, and then we've got the Green Knight as well. And there's 23 points remaining. We'll come back to those. The rest of the list is 8 Knights of the Realm, full command, War Banner, 12 Peasants with longbows and their skirmishers, and then 32 Yeoman Guard with full command, including the Grail Monk with the Blessed Triptych. So something I did notice, let me just double check that I haven't made a mistake here. Yeah, the Yeomen have got halberds. I think they're better off with thrusting spears. It's the same price, and yes, the halberd is theoretically better, but in this case, just use your shield, have a better armor save when you inevitably get charged, and you've got 2 ranks to attack. So you're more likely to get 3 attacks off instead of getting no attacks. I think that's probably just better overall. And then Peg Knights, they've got the First Knight, Standard Bearer, Banner of the Zealous Knight. I'd like to see a Musician in here. I know points are tight, but I feel like Musician is quite important just to give you that additional chance to rally. You don't really want to run away much with Pegasus Knights, but I still like to have the Musician if you can. And then double Bombard. So this is a pretty solid list. Pretty solid. Let's just have a look here. What can we work with? As always, these streams do get seen by more people, the more engagement, so thank you everyone who's commenting, and if you haven't, I'd appreciate if you could give the stream a thumbs up. It does help me get seen by more of them people. I feel like I'm getting tired of saying that already. I've only been doing this for less than a year. How do we tweak this? Because I think Judge, you wanted to get the Frontier Axe with Grommel Helm. That would get you to a 3-up save with rerolling 1s, which isn't terrible. So then you've got like a 5-up, 5-up with reroll 1s on the armor saves. That's not terrible. So let's just put it in. Let's just assume that we can do it and see how we can tweak some points. 17 points over, that's fine. There's not really much to cut here, is there? There really just isn't much to cut. I mean, it's the only thing that you can realistically cut here is the Lucky Heirloom.
Comment.
Thank you, that rat bastard. Truly my favourite rat bastard of all time. Appreciate you. I did notice this is cut down to a Barded Pegasus as well, which makes sense because you don't need it to be anywhere near as exciting. I wonder if... Do you get away with not running the Paladin? Like, is that just the way that we go here? Like, the Falconhorn's really good, and I think if you're taking Exiles, you take it. So where would that go? If we drop one of the Lucky Heirlooms, it's not enough for a Falconhorn. I mean, like, this is the obvious tweak, right? You just take one of the Lucky Heirlooms off, which is still fine. I am still concerned that it's not going to do enough damage, but I think this is the obvious change that we make. And then we're 8 points over in core, so I'm probably going to just try and cut them here. Is there anything that we can cut that's 8 points? I think Yeomen are 5 points per model, aren't they? Of course they are. Of course they are. That would have been too easy. What if we do that, and then... Is there a way to put 2 points into something? Honestly, we don't need a first knight on the Knights of the Realm. I don't think a first knight in it is necessarily good if you're not running a character in there, because you can just get challenged out if you try and hit, like, a mid-tier character, like something on a griffin. Like, this unit could probably charge into a griffin and have an okay chance of winning the fight, especially with the war banner. So I think dropping the first knight there, and then just going up to... Oh... 11. Ha. We're still 7 points over. Am I just bad at maths? I guess I'm just bad at maths. Points really do hurt here. There's not much that we can do. I don't really want to drop the first knight, but it does make that work. I guess when you've got the Frontier Axe, you can kind of get away with it. You just got to position correctly, right? I don't know. I'm not in love with these changes, honestly. They are aggressively fine, I think, is the way I would describe them. Oh, man. I haven't plugged the Twitch, but if you don't mind having the Twitch stream in the background, I would appreciate that. I'm getting close to the ability to have partner on there, which honestly I'm not sure how much I'm going to use, but it'll give me flexibility to do off streams and stuff. So would appreciate that. It's in the description as well. So yeah, you know what? Let's call that done. Also not sure on changes to characters, but made some tweaks. This is one that I think would be beneficial if you have any thoughts, feel free to ping me on Discord in the voice the Bretonnian channel, and we can discuss changes. So let's just put that in here. All right, and let's move on to GN. I'm assuming this is Graham N and your Chorf army. So. This is Chaos Dwarfs. What was the setting that you were planning on playing these in? Is this like a tournament list, or is this sort of like a LGS, playing with friends? What's the level of competitive you're trying to work towards? Just move this up so I don't accidentally double it. The Anxiety Badger just followed me on Twitch. I appreciate you, Anxiety Badger. Much love. Hadn't thought that far ahead for your LGS to maybe go to an event later. Cool. Just so there's no. I don't want to say, oh, make these cuts. Just cut things and put them in, because the Infernal Guard are a less efficient choice. But if you're playing at sort of like LGS level, they're not that much less efficient. You can probably get away with playing them. So this is an interesting list. You've got a lot of stuff on foot, which is it's a little difficult, I think, to play around with. I believe you were saying as well that you were hoping to roll into Steed of Shadows. Let me just have a look here. Makes use of Chorfs, doesn't have any big targets, leans into a gun line, but if you roll Steed of Shadows, there's a brick of Chorfs. Using drill to march 36 inches onto someone's flank. Yeah, that's super fair. I'm assuming the reason you haven't taken a Lore Familiar is so that you can take the Cloud of Ash signature spell. Storm of Ash, sorry, which is like an aura, a 9-inch aura of -1 to be hit. I think, yeah, I mean, this is a great spell, but I'm thinking, for your game plan, I think you probably want the Lore Familiar and just accept that you're losing the signature spell, which does suck a bit, but instead you get, every game, you're going to have, you know, the +1 strength attack and AP buff, and also have the ability to fly, and it just gives you some consistency in your game plan. So let's just put in Lore Familiar here. Dark Forged weapon is fine. People buy them. I'm not super sold on them, but it's not. It's 10 points. It's not the end of the world. And honestly, it's kind of fun to roll on a table to see what buff you've got game to game. Mantle of Stone is fine, although I think instead of the Mantle of Stone, let's just go Talisman of Protection, because instead of going from T5 to T6, you'll go to having a 5-up ward save, which is just a better defensive buff. You're still reasonably hard to wound at T5. 3 wounds T5. Yeah, you've got a heavy armor as well. In fact, I wouldn't... We'll see if we got points for it. I'll put it on now, the Armor of Meteoric Iron. Because it's your general and you're on foot, I want to make sure that it survives. And it's kind of a lot of your game plan is rolled up into this Sorcerer Prophet. So far, we're stacking a lot of defenses on him and making sure that his spells are going to off. But we can tweak if we need to. Infernal Seneschal with the Lamasu's Beard. Yep, that's fine. You've gone heavy armor. You've got a shield as well. And then you've got the Dark Forged weapon. That's fine. If you roll into magic resist on either of them, that's quite nice. Although, does the Sorcerer Prophet have magic resist? No, of course not. Hobgoblin Khan with a great weapon, throwing weapons, giant wolf. Yeah, you haven't given a light armor shield. Honestly, probably not going to do all that much. For 60 points, you've got a reasonably hitty character. 3 attacks at strength 6 with backstab if you need it. That's not too shabby. And then we've got the Bull Center Torok. So the Bull Center, I think definitely we drop the Dark Forge weapon. Just go for a great weapon. And you may as well take a shield as well. Between those, you're just going to do more. Because the Bull Centaur, like, I'm a little bit butted. Trying to say bummed and gutted. I couldn't decide which way I wanted. But a little bit gutted that you have to take a unit of Bull Centaurs for each Torok, because these things stat-wise are kind of just disgusting. So you've got a 7-inch move, Swift Stride character with impact hits. The impact hits have AP. Your Strength 5, your T5, you've got 4 wounds, you've got 4 attacks. Your Leadership 9, which is just really solid. Weapon Skill 5 is very middle of the road, but honestly, like, for 152 points, this is good. This gets you to a 3-up save against shooting or a 4-up save in combat. So it's very easy to justify if you could take loads of these. If you could take 3 and just have them running around with great weapons, you could look to be like, oh, I'm going to give them some sort of additional armor save. Either through full plate. I think the Mask of the... Oh yeah, so you could give one of them this to give them +1 save. You could give one of them the full plate here, and you could give one of them the Bedazzling Helm. I don't know that they're worth that many points. But yeah, that's true. Oh yes, the Lamasu's Beard gives magic res. For anyone who's watching along at home and doesn't know, because Chaos Dwarfs are less familiar, Lamasu's Beard is a 6-up ward save and magic resist to always. And then its units within 6 inches get a 5-up ward save against shooting and also magic resist 1. In Warhammer, you're always within 6 inches of yourself, or you're always within range of yourself. So you get the better save against shooting on the unit that's carrying the banner, which is nice. So yeah, this is... I really like the Torok. I'd like to see more of those on the table. Infernal Guard. Sorry. This is... Fireglaves are expensive. You're paying 82 points to... no, 84 points for the Fireglaves. And you're getting a single shot out of each, right? Strength 4, AP 1. What's their ballistic skill? Is it 3 or 4? Oh, 3. The banner is wired given the level 4 Mantle of Stone. Oh, fuck. Of course you have. Sorry. I'd missed that little combo there. 5-up ward is much better than 6-up. You know what? I don't hate it. Like, if we go Armor of Meteoric Iron here, that gives you effectively a 5-up ward, because it's a 5-up armor save that can't be reduced. And then you've got a 6-up ward, and then the +1 toughness. You know what? That's a combo. Let's keep that in. I think that's a good little combo you've got there. I just missed, for some reason, that you got the ward save off the Lamasu's Beard. Told you I hadn't looked at Chaos Dwarfs for a while. So here you've gone for Hellshard. Hellshard is cute. This is like one of the first places I'd cut points if I needed to. But I did look at it and go, okay. So this is, if the bearer loses their last wound to an enemy attack in combat, the unit that made the attack suffers D6 strength 5 hits at AP 1. This does count towards combat res, of course. This is interesting. This is quite fun. So you typically want to have some output with your unit, right? And if they're hitting you, or if they're playing well and they dedicate one attack into your unit champion, as I always forget to do. If they kill him, they just get D6 strength 5 hits back. It's for challenges, champ suicide bombs. Yeah, I think the challenges, a lot of the time you're going to be challenged by a dragon, and it's not going to do much. I think you're paying 20 points. If you go into a tournament, I think you're paying 20 points for it to work once over the 5 games. But I am a sucker for that sort of, like, little cheeky, here's a little, not surprise, but, oh, you weren't expecting this. I think it's fun. I like it. Broma Sapien almost missed the stream since you were actually working today. No worries at all. Good to have you. I believe we've got your list in here. Yours was one of the high elf lists, wasn't it? We're going to get to yours towards the end because I haven't got a way of showing them on stream easily. I haven't put them into an old world builder. If we're taking Lore Familiar, then I'd swap them to Great Weapons every time. Perfect, yes. So, Graham, that was where I was going to go with the Fireglaves, and I just got distracted by you pointing out other things. So here we go. We're going for the Great Weapons, as you point out. Hey, Matt, how are you doing today? So we've got Great Weapons here, and that means I think you can put 2 additional models in. 6 points missing. God, that's annoying. Why would you have a 6-inch range gun that is ponderous? That feels pretty rough. You can try and post the document in Discord. It's fine. Yeah. Just whatever works. I'm probably just going to show it on, just show the Discord screen. But whatever works. 6 points is 2 hobgoblins. Hey, you know what you're talking about. So I'm just going to buff that up to 12 and that up to 11. And that takes you to 500 exactly. Cool. Bull Centaur renders. Yeah, so Rampaging Ban is probably quite important on this unit because it doesn't have counter charge, but it does have Swift Stride and it does have impact hits. So you're really leaning on those impact hits to get some work done. So I don't hate that at all. I was going to say I'd drop the Bahal, but maybe not because you've got the Toruk. We can come back to that. You've got double Bolt Thrower, double Rocket Launcher, Dreadquake Mortar, and the Wolf Riders. So I think what I'd like to see here is I'd like to see a Demon Sith Sorcerer, just a level 1, and the other list that we're going to look at does have this. So the entire point of this is to provide the rerolls. Where's it gone? Infernal Engineer. So it's once a turn, reroll the Scatter or Artillery die. So this is basically just to stop you from blowing up your own stuff, which is, I think, worth the 85 points when you've got 4 War Machines here, or 3 War Machines, and then 2 that don't count. So I think that's worth fitting in, but we do really have to start cutting points when we're doing that. Hey, Landon, happy Friday. How you doing? Good. Hey, Creekhammer as well. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Hope you're all doing well. Let's have a look. So I really like the Death Shrieker. Death Shriekers are interesting because they've got 2 different sets of output. You've got one which is going to do very little, which is a large blast template, strength 3. But, some games that's going to be better than what you've got here. Then you've got the small template, only strength 6 in the middle, AP 3, but it is Armor Bane 1 and multiple wounds D6. So if you get it through, dragons can really get hurt. And then you've got the Dreadquake Mortar, which is more of a regular stone thrower. We've got here, that's Dreadquake Mortar, strength 6, AP 3, D6 as well. Okay, fair enough. I've missed that for some reason. But it is a 5-inch blast at all times. Broma Sapiens list is last because he's sending it by passenger pigeon. That is fair. Probably some sort of arcane magic, given that it's high elves. Alright, so if we've put in the Demon Smith Sorcerer, because I think that's worth having to buff up the shooting, we're now 125 points over budget. How are we making those cuts? So I think we can go down to 3 here. Let's go down to 3, drop the Bahal. I don't really want to drop the Hobgoblin Khan, because I think the Khan's quite good, and this is a very cheap sort of smasher unit. Yeah, you were midway through typing it when I removed the Bull Centaur. I guess... if you've got the Khan in there, and you've got him equipped for melee, I wonder if you just drop the Feigned Flight. Like, Feigned Flight is good, don't get me wrong, but you've got a small unit, and they're not going to be doing a huge amount of shooting. And then... Oh, man. Wolf Riders. Are you willing to just lose the Wolf Riders? Because they are solid, but I think I could see them going for the rest of the list. Like, if we do this and take out the Khan as well, and then that gives us 75 points, so we can probably buff up the renders again, which puts us at 1991. And then, yeah, like, we just tweak around with points. Something like this, I think, is solid. You've got a big gun line here. You've got a smasher unit. You've got a smasher unit. You've got some cheap chaff to try and slow down and stop people from getting into your artillery, or just to be annoying in marching column, something like that. You've got the sorcerer who's there to provide artillery rerolls. You've got the BSB. You've got the sorcerer prophet. I think this is an interesting list. Let me just make sure it's legal. Yep. I forgot that the war machines don't count towards the minimum 3 units, so I definitely sent someone to a tournament with only 2 units and war machines. That was an illegal list. My bad. Got to double check now. Okay, so what are we putting in with the remaining points? What are we putting in with the remaining points? So, have you got the... I mean, honestly, it's just like another 3 hobgoblins, right? 14 and 12, something like that. Specifics, those last few specific points can probably be played around with as you like, but I think that looks like a solid list. And it's the sort of thing that as you play with it, you'll find the bits that you like more or less, and we can tweak around with it in the future. Broma Sapien, cannot wait for my list to be absolutely lambasted. Even you know it's awful. Brilliant. Brilliant. That sounds good. That sounds good. Okay, so next up we've got James V's vampire counts. I feel like fun/semi-competitive list for vampire counts. Thinking of running dark magic on one of the level 4s, and Mortis Engine seems like the best choice due to assailments. Idea for the White King is to pick from Lore of Beast, either Gorok or Valtide. Does that work? I don't think that works, does it? So the White King's wearing a wizarding hat. We'll come back to that in a second. We'll try running the king with a cursed armor and helmet commandment. Maybe on the lore, just be better. Want to try out Spirit's Host. Cool. Okay. Okay. The first thing we need to do here is we need to read how this works. So if we go wizarding hat. So, from a lore of magic of your choosing. It does work like that. Huh. For some reason, I never realized that you could do that. Okay. Mantle of Gorok only casts on an 8. This works, right? If we've got any good rules lawyers in the chat who know differently, let me know, but... This seems... Huh. This seems like it works. And it's opening my eyes to a whole new world. What are we thinking? Anyone got any thoughts on this, or are we just assuming that it does work? Matthew, I've played Mantle recently. Its problem is end of turn. It was start of turn. It'd be next year. Fun Police. What is the combo? Missed it. So the combo is Wizarding Hat. Let me just go back to it. You're a level 1 wizard and know one randomly generated spell from a Lore of Magic if you're choosing. And then you also have Stupidity. And he says he wants to pick one from the Lore of Beasts. I guess because you're not randomly generating, you probably can't do it. Is that how that works? Shimmering Splendid. So shiny. I feel like Laws of Magic shouldn't refer to hard to cast in level 1. So It's not even that bad. You'd probably want to take like a power scroll or something, because it casts an innate. So that's like 56% of the time you cast it. Like, this is a hell... I feel like it shouldn't work. But if it does work... I think so, but maybe you can. It's just randomly generated. Doesn't the FAQ stop this, or is this only race laws? Oh, okay. Let's have a look. No worries, Graham. Have you got... which models are you thinking about for the Chorfs? I think it is lore familiar specific, but we can have a look. Yeah, it's specifically lore familiar. Signature. Oh, that's spelled incorrectly. There we go. Signature spells. No, that's the only reference to it. The FAQ is about lore familiar. Feels like something a TO would just disallow for a peaceful life. Yeah. No, it's fine, Matthew. I want to get to the bottom of this, because if it works, I want to play it. Wizarding Hat did have an FAQ. Okay. Wizrad. Wizarding Hat. Huh. Wizarding. There we go. Brain turned off. So you can cast spells while wearing armor. That's good. You can also wear an enchanted helmet. But they say that you've got to wear 2 hats. Big fan. Does it increase the level of wizardry? No. And that takes us to the end of the FAQ. Try typing faster. It's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good idea. Wizradding Hat. Technically, I'm dyslexic. Technically. Oh, God. My mum messaged me, actually, about that. At the start of the week. I need to respond to her. It was in the middle of something when I saw the message, and I never just got back to her. Apparently, she found some documentation from when I was tested. I'm only technically dyslexic. It was because my verbal reasoning is so high, and at the time, my written reasoning was very average. But I think I got better at that. I bloody hope I got better at that, because I got a degree, which was all written down. So who can say? Who can say? Anyway, sidebar. I don't think this works. Unfortunately. Which is a shame, because it's super cool. The idea is mantle on a combat character, yeah. Let's just work with the assumption that it doesn't work, and we'll take it out. But if it does work, you've cottoned onto something incredible, and you're the smartest person there is. Certificate of no donkey brains, yeah, very good. You'll have a 1/3 chance to get mantle, otherwise it's file tied to the other one. Yeah, I don't know if you... Yeah, I don't like the wording. I'd want to bring it to a TO's attention before I made my list around it. So I am going to shoot that over to a couple of TOs after this stream, if I remember. But yes, Helmet Commandment, which James did mention as an option. This is the other choice. And he also said Accursed Armor, which is +1 toughness, -1 weapon skill, full plate. Yeah, I think that's super fine. And... yeah, that still fits in. Oh, we can take off the power scroll as well. We don't need a power scroll. So, is the Accursed Armor full plate? Nice. I'm going to give you a shield here as well. You're probably going to use the Great Weapon most of the time, but sometimes you're going to get face-to-face with a dragon, and you'll just long for that slightly better save to go with your 4-up regen. But that's fine. Okay. Master Necromancer. There was Scepter of Denaro, Spell Familiar, Crown of the Damned with Dark Magic. We'll come back to the spells in a second. Then you've got the Skull Staff, Spell Familiar, level 4, Necromancy on foot. I think this is a good loadout. White Lord, BSB, Charm Shield with the War Banner. That's good. And then a Cairn Wraith just to unlock the Spirit Hosts. I believe James did say that they wanted to try the Spirit Host there. Yeah, that's true. Okie dokie. And then there's the Blood Knights as well. Helm of Commandment is legit with the BSB around. I think it's really good. It's something that people don't play with enough, but it's really, really solid. Oh, yeah, I'd put Potion of Toughness on here, because I couldn't work out how to put the correct Vampire on. Yeah, so it gives the unit Terror. I don't believe they had drills. Let me just double check. Yeah, 7. I don't think you need drilled for 7 anyway, so that's fine. This is an interesting list. I don't think I would be playing around with dark magic, honestly. Doombolt is bad. Word of Pain is good. Stream of Corruption and Soul Eater are very mid. Like, I'm not excited to use either of these. Battlelist is obviously good, but I don't really think you've got anyone here that I'm super jazzed to put it on, because you're not going to be getting the charge with them. I guess you could put it on the Blood Knights, but then because you're frenzied, you're going to overrun, right? Let me just double check, because I want to make sure that that interaction works the way that I think it does. Because if you do frenzy, it cannot ever choose to make a restraint test. Yeah, so you literally, even if you destroy a unit or catch them after you've followed up, you then don't get to turn around. So you're just always going to be facing the wrong way. So I'm concerned about giving frenzy to anyone. The Graveguard are fine, but you can't cast it into combat, and this unit is just going to be stuck in combat for all time. So I think I'd just be going double Necromancy, honestly. Or yeah, Necromancy feels fine. You could go Necromancy Illusion, but Necromancy is just so good, right? You can reform after the overrun, can you? Let's have a look here. I'm going to type more slowly. Reform. Can it attempt to reform after moving? It may attempt to reform as if it has run down the foe. So let's just have a look at Frenzy here. Does the frenzy wording not stop you from doing it? So I know it's cropping off, but I don't want to change the thing, because I'll go back to the other page in a second. So it cannot choose to flee, nor can it ever choose to make a restraint test. So restraint test, it just says they may attempt to restrain reform. To make a restraint test against the leadership. Because you have to test to reform. You auto-restrain. Okay, let's just have a look at the wording on this. You're probably right, and if that's how it works, it does make Frenzy less of a downside. So this is the first one. This is... It says, okay, so here it says, a unit that overruns, since it's already been wiped out, it may attempt to reform as if it would run down the foes. So you have to attempt to, so I don't think you can. Overrun. Is there anything here? There is something that says you can only ever... Here we go. I just go back to it. I feel there's definitely something that says you can't overrun twice. I know that much. Pursuit move. Frenzy doesn't mention the reform. All right, let's go back to Frenzy. Would it be under Catching the Curs? It might well be. Good shout. Good shout. Catching the Curs. Yeah, you've got to attempt to reform here, right? And reform is part of the restraint test. I feel like, because restrain and reform is all part of the same thing, overrun twice is about fighting twice in combat. I'm sorry, I'm missing the context of that. So if you're frenzied, you can never choose to make a restraint test. So that's a problem, because you get to so let's say you catch them, you run them down, you overrun, they're immediately removed from play as if they were run down. The pursuing unit they may then attempt to reform, but attempting to reform is part of restrain and reform, which you cannot do because you're frenzied, right? Because that is the restraint test. So I think if you're frenzied, even if you catch an enemy unit, you're not allowed to reform. You don't auto-reform, you're just not allowed to overrun twice. Unless I'm missing a vital bit of text here. I don't think I'm missing anything. Yeah. No, I don't think I'm missing anything. I think even if you destroy an enemy unit with a frenzied unit, you don't then get to test to reform afterwards, because you just can't. I'm going to move on, but do feel free to give me more links to look at in chat if there's anything that you think I should be reading to confirm. So here we go. We go double necromancy. I think is probably just better. You haven't really built into necromancy. I wouldn't be upset at seeing a banshee in here, maybe instead of the Cairn Wraith. So let's just move that over to a Cairn Wraith, right? A Tomb Banshee, sorry. 11 points too many. I don't think you're restraining if you've already overrun. I think you have to, right? That was the wording of catching the curse. Yeah, you're may attempt to reform, and reform is part of. It was part of one of these. Now I'm forgetting where everything is. Yeah. You can reform after overrunning. Yes, you can reform after overrunning, but I think Frenzy overrules that. Because you still have to test to do it. And Frenzy says, specifically, you cannot ever choose to make a restraint test. And the way reforming works is you have to test. So if we look at the FAQ... Can it attempt to reform after moving? You don't automatically do it. You have to make the test. And Frenzy says you can never choose to make a restraint test. Reform is also a normal maneuver. That is true. Let's have a look at the wording on that. So it's not only tied to reforming, but here it says... it may attempt to reform. So you still have to make the test. Page 129, which is... fuck. Go back to it. Restraint test. That's 156. Big brain time. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of getting stuck in the weeds here. I don't think you can do it. Maybe I'm wrong. But that needs to be tweaked around with. Here, so let's just have a look at the characters. How are we going to make this all fit in? I still don't love dark magic, I think. I think I'd probably just go double. Double necromancy is so consistent for vampire counts. And then a single scream. People, hopefully, shouldn't get too mad at you for running one scream. We can drop the Doomwolf here. Continue on Discord. Yeah, thanks, mate. That'd be fantastic. Because I'd really like to know the answer. I just don't want to bog down the stream for too long with it. Okie dokie. Let's have a look. So we're 11 points over, which is exactly how many points we need to cut as well. So that works out quite nicely. Let's cut the shield here, because we only put it on... Yeah. This is difficult. I don't know what we cut here. Helm of Commandment, a cursed armor. Like, a cursed armor feels like maybe it's just not necessary. It's nice, but it's kind of a luxury, right? So maybe we just go... Honestly, maybe we just go Charmed Shield here and call it a day. That feels like it might be better. Helm of Commandment, you've got a 1-use 5-up ward. You've got a 4-up regen, so you're pretty tanky. I think this is probably it for me. I mean, honestly, I'd put him on a skeletal steed. Get you that that barding. I think that's really solid. I'd do the same for the White Lord as well, but either or. Anyway, I think this is probably about where I'd land on it. I think... Oh, we didn't even talk about the rest of the list. So, this is interesting because the wording on this is... I'm not sure how often James plays, but the wording it seems like they're testing out new things as opposed to maybe a more experienced player. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But this is interesting. This is a spicy bit of tech, and I actually really like it. So the Seneschal, the champion, is the first thing to get rezzed. And obviously, the Graveguard, they're going to be charged by things. Then they're going to be challenging out with the champion when the dragon charges them. And then they're going to res. And the Armour of Meteoric Iron, that's going to cut the incoming wounds by 1/3. And that's pretty spicy. Chris says I do that. Okay, so maybe it's something that James has picked up. I've just not seen this before. I really like it. So they've got a 5-up, 5-up with the Drakenhof banner. And the worst thing imaginable for a dragon player would be to go in, get challenged by this, not actually manage to kill the champion. I've done that before. I've not killed a unit champion with a dragon, and then you've got to kill it the next turn. Absolutely backbreaking. You just get nothing done with your dragon. Normally what happens is you kill the champion, win, tie, or small loss on combat res, depending on how the combat goes. But then on their turn, you kill a big chunk of the unit. If this unit survives, if this champion survives, you're in some real problems. Double Direwolves is good. Spirit Hosts, I think, are interesting. So you have to take one of these two to unlock them. And they are... do they have fly? No, they're just an ethereal unit. They're pretty beefy. T3 only, but 4 wounds each. They have got a regen 6-up. They're fine. They've got reserve move inbuilt. They are solid at keeping your ethereal character alive, and you can charge something, tie them up. They're probably not going to die to combat res very quickly. I like them. I like them, especially if you've got like the Tomb Banshee joining them because they've got Indomitable 1. Does the Cairn Wraith have Indom 1 as well? It does, yeah. So either of these are fine. I just think the Tomb Banshee's better because it gives you a bit of output and it gets you a little bit closer to the competitive list. Blood Knights I like here. Full command, big fan of full command. Supernatural horror to give them terror is nice, especially if you've got the necromancy casters as well, because you can just like absolutely ruin someone's leadership and theoretically make something, I was going to say big and bad, run away, and I mean that in sort of like a unit size, not something that causes terror itself, obviously. But yeah, I think this is an interesting list. I think people shouldn't be, I hope, too upset to play against you. You've got one Mortis Engine, you've got one Tomb Banshee, you've got a big Brick of Graveguard. People love hitting a unit and then having stuff to kill. You've got a mid to large size unit of Blood Knights. I think this should be quite fun to play against as vampire count lists go. And I think it should do quite well. So let's just at James V. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Ah, there we go. Jeju said couldn't catch us live, but we'll watch it tomorrow. That's super fair. If you see this, let me know if you've got any feedback or if you'd like to talk some other bits and pieces. All right, we've got a fun one now. So we got Strife's German comp list, and German comp is a little bit in-depth, a little bit intense, honestly. While I pull that up on Discord, we've got loads of people who've joined in the last little while. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate if you could thumbs up the video. Gets me seen by more people. And if you've already done it, you're beautiful. I love you. So, German Comp 2. There is a bit of comp, so if you don't mind looking at this with that in mind, it would be great. He says a bit of comp. If it's the same as German Comp 1, which I was thinking about entering, it is a lot of comp. So, rule of 3, rule of 2 for characters, no allies. All of this is fine so far. Rule of 1 for rare units of 125 points or higher. This is weird. This just hits weird things. So I was talking to one of my friends who was thinking about playing vampire counts, and they've got an ethereal list. They're only able to take a single unit of Hex Wraiths. Hex Wraiths, that game-breaking unit. People are real mad when they see Hex Wraiths. Not sure about that one. Not sure about that one. No flying characters above 400 points. No non-character units above 400 points. This will factor into the kind of lists I face. So that means, realistically... Ooh. Is that new? That might be new, because that means no dragons, right? I don't think there are any dragons below 400 points outside of like high elves. You could maybe make a moon dragon for 5. I'm gonna have to have a look at this actually. This is interesting. You can take a max 1 level 3 or 4, max 4 war machines, so anything like a steam tank included counts. Multi-wound ranged weapons count as 0.5, super reasonable. Tomb King dragons above 400. Tomb Kings will be eating good. Max 4 chariots. Sorry, I know that's a lot of it, so feel free to skip me if it's a pain. Absolutely not a pain, my friend. I love doing these sorts of things because it gives you an extra angle to think about, right? Instead of just looking at specifics. Here we go. Let's see if we can open up the comp pack. I remember reading this for the first time. This looks like something I'd have expected to see when I used to play Fantasy 20 years ago. Still waiting for the comp on Brett's. Oh no, is it not got anything for Bretonnians? Let's have a look here. This is general unit types. There is slight comp, I remember. So you can have max 3 units or characters with fly, max 7 non-core fly models, max 4 units. The Falcon Horn counts as 1 flying model, and you can't have Green Knight or Lady Elise, which is weird because Lady Elise probably doesn't need to be banned. Gorok is banned. Okay, so are they just getting rid of... It looks like they're getting rid of all of the named characters that people actually play. That's fine, I think. Although they could have got rid of... what's his face? The engineer with the steam hammer here. Wood Elves can discard one of the spells for a signature spell. That's interesting. And also vampires, max 3 units with Wailing Dirge. Max 6 fanatics. Skaven do not suffer any restrictions about magic except each vortex max ×1. Okay, so there's no vortex spam. Max 3 magic missiles. Okay, so the Bestellon would give you an extra 1. Kicknick's okay, stand down. Yeah, that's true. Ogdros as well. Ogdros is pretty okay. All of those are solid. Yeah. This is interesting. I mean, I don't like comp in general. I don't think we're at a point where we need it. But I might give this a go. Maybe that's fun. Excellent colours there. Big fan of that. Some probably accidental trans pride from German comp. Always good to have support for our trans brethren. I watched a fantastic video that my partner sent me a few days ago. And it's she's big into book YouTube. And there was a trans lady who has a YouTube channel where she talks about books. And she was building it up like, oh, I never thought they'd get me. I never thought I'd fall for this. And it was like, it was obviously a bit. And I was like, oh, what? It's like reading romance models or something. And she was like, I'm not one of those trans women. I shouldn't be interested in Warhammer. It was hilarious. I really enjoyed it. I should see if I can find it. Post the link. Anyway, yeah. So comp is fun. If you don't have to play it, I think is how I'm feeling about it. God, there's so much in here. Good, you can trust the Germans to be clear about what they want to do. But yeah, here we go. Strife has a German comp empire list, and this is Ground Army. So we've got Double War Wagon, Grenade Launching Blunderbuss. This has Cumbersome and Ponderous. I don't love that because you're only weapon skill 4. So you're only going to be hitting on 5s, which is not particularly great. What's the rule I'm looking for in the War Wagon? Oh, it's not on there. That video definitely needs to be shared. Yeah, I'll see if I can remember. I'll put it in the off-topic section on Discord, because I really enjoyed watching it. I'll be honest, it kind of labours the point a little bit, because it goes on for a long time. But the build-up was very good. You know what? It's 10 points. You're not going to move every turn, theoretically, so that's fine. Both War Wagons have got a ward save, as you should. A Wizard Lord on... So this is interesting. The Wizard Lord is on foot with Lore Familiar, Illusion, Double Power Scroll. This is a good loadout, but where's it going? Because the archers are not a huge number of models. And there's nowhere else for it to sit, so... I mean, you're not going to get Pillar of Fire spammed. But... I don't know. This is interesting. So, there's a big unit of Knights of the White Wolf, I really like. Charm Shield and Witch Hunter's Ward on the unit. I don't think you're able to use the shield because you haven't picked shields, right? Because you don't have Motley Crew. How does that work? Someone's going to know the interaction. Can a unit champion use a shield when the rest of the unit isn't using a shield? I don't think they can. I could be wrong. But I think because they don't have Motley Crew, they all have to use the same weapons. Anyway, I think you should be paying for the shields just to give them +1 to their save anyway. J. Anthony, my engineer with a GLB totally one-shot to Gyrocopter in your last game. Hell yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's not mathematically likely, but those stories are fantastic. That's why we play Warhammer, right? Because sometimes you just get a great story out of it, and also the lore and the background and everything else. These Road Wardens are pretty cool. I like them. You've gone heavy on the scouts, so you're accepting that you're giving up turn 1. Or you're giving up the +1 to go first, which is fair. I don't know how I feel about it when you're this heavy into artillery, because you've got 2 cannons, a steam tank, and a Hellblaster volley gun. I guess it's not super heavy. I like these. Repeater pistol's good. It's 3 shots instead of 2. Still strength 4, AP 1. I should probably play around with these units. I like bigger units, but you're going super cheap on them just so you can get the captain to get the more efficient shooting. Because the captain has +1 ballistic skill. So you've got 6 shots at... 6 shots at ballistic skill 4. And then you've got 3 shots at ballistic skill 5, which is just significantly better. And then all the rules they have are solid as well. So you've got 1, 2, 3 heavy chariots with the steam tank. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 war machines, including the steam tank. So you can't go any heavier on the war machines. I think that's probably fine. It's probably fine. It's just this Wizard Lord. I'm a little concerned about where it fits, because the archers are going to die. I think what I would do, the main thing, is I'd buff up to 8 and 8, and that gives you options, right? We're still 20 points over, so we probably need to make some cuts. But maybe we just drop 1 knight here. So with your undefeated Witch Hunters themed list, it's a unit of veteran halberdiers with 3 Witch Hunters and a BSB, all with braces of pistols. That's hilarious. What have you been playing into? I assume all the Witch Hunters have a different suffer not. What buffs can you get from those Witch Hunters? Because that's interesting. So suffer not, you can get magic resist 2, and you can give them hatred undead, hatred chaos, and realistically hatred enemy wizards. I don't know about this one. This one, the flaming attacks could be downsides, but I guess it's not the end of the world. Interesting. Here, I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing like a repeater pistol. It's just extra magic attacks and flaming. Yeah. No, we're 5 points short. That's a bugger. How many points are archers? They're 7, right? No, they're 9. That's expensive. Okay, so we'll just take off the repeater pistol. That wasn't actually necessary. We're still 1 point over an MR2. Yeah, MR2 is really nice. Is there any way to tweak this? Is there any way to tweak this at all? Oh, you know what we could do? We could go like that and then give them a marksman. That takes us to 500 exactly. And the unit with the marksman is the unit that's probably going to take the Wizard Lord. I don't love the Wizard Lord. I don't feel like it has a great place to sit. Like, even they used to go 3 great cannons and drop the Hellblaster. You'd have to find 5 more points, but I think that's a cut that I'd be willing to make. Griffin Standard and BSB Static Combat Rise 7. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Although having a Hellblaster volley gun is kind of nice, just to have some range damage. Because you're not going to be playing against big stuff. Oh, because you're not going to be playing against big stuff as much. Maybe you don't need the great cannons. I don't know, maybe this is the version... Maybe this is the version that we go with. But, Strife. I am interested to talk more on this list. So, I'm assuming you're not here, but ping me in the Empire channel if you want to chat more discussion on it. Alright, we're an hour in and we've only hit 4 lists, so we need to speed things up a little bit. So we've got 12 to cover. This Chorf list. This was the second Chorf list. We've got Thorgrim's Chorfs. So this is got the Sorcerer on foot, which goes with the Death Shriekers to give them rerolls. We've got a Bale Taurus with the standard setup, Mantle of Stone, Talisman of Protection, Armor of Meteoric Iron. Very good on a Bale Taurus. You're hoping that you roll with Demonology into Demonic Vessel, because it gives you +1 strength, AP, and attacks. And obviously, the Bale Taurus, that gets you to 5 attacks at strength 7, AP 2, I think it is. Let me just double check. It's strength 6. Yeah, you get 1 attack with the Goring Horns, which is like really good, but you can only make 1 attack with it, which is a shame because they are spicy. We've got a war boss here. So the war boss it's the Warboar, Trollhide Trousers, Dragon Slaying Sword, and that's interesting. I think I'd be tempted to try and find points to put on a Wyvern, but the 360-degree charge arc does make a lot of sense for this Warboar. So let's just leave that leave it as it is as it stands. The Torok's got 50 points of magical items, and it's got a killing blow. I don't think this weapon's good. I don't think it's worth 50 points. You've got killing blow, and if you suffer an unsafe wound, you've got to take a strength test. If you fail, you lose an additional wound. The things that you're going to want to lose additional wounds, this just doesn't make any difference on. Instead, you could just give this, if you wanted, you could go for the Ogre Blade. Like, obviously you haven't got the points for it, but that would be way better. I think, honestly, we just go Great Weapon here. Like, I don't think it's worth picking that up. Or even, like, Giant Blade would be better. Something like that. So that gives us some points to play around with. There's a unit of 12 Infernal Guard with Hand Weapon Shield, Drilled Champion. That's fine. 3 units of Hobgoblins. We're going to give this the Musician just because we've got points now. And we'll go up to a 3rd Great Weapon as well. We've just got 40-odd points here to play around with. And honestly, what I quite like on a Bull Centaur is the Obsidian Vambraces. Gives you +1 strength and magic resist 1, and you lose it if you roll a 1 to hit when you get to combat. But honestly, I think it's worth having. Or you could just go Mantle of Stone, because that gives you to T6, right? Maybe we just go Mantle of Stone. Or, tell you what, drop that Musician again. Let's go Mantle of Stone and the Obsidian Vambraces. And then your Great Weapon's going to hit like a truck, right? Because you're Strength 5 already. That gets you to Strength 8, so you wound dragons on 2s. You wound steam tanks on 3s. Not that I necessarily think you should be going into a dragon with a Bull Centaur, but yeah, I think that's solid. I like this core, though. The Hobgoblin Cutthroats are so cheap for how many bodies they bring, and as long as they don't run away, you're doing well there. Obviously, you don't want to take banners, although they are levies. No, levies, it's peasants specifically that don't lose points for banners. And they've got short bows, so they will do something. 6 Black Orcs, you've got to take them if you've got the War Boss. And I think this is interesting. And it can't be screened at all. I guess it can be screened if you've got the champion in with the Bull Centaur renders. But I don't think there's any banners that I'm super in love with putting on. There's nothing on here that I'm super bothered about. Do I think an FAQ will come out with this Arcane Journal? One will come out every time, but it feels like we just got one. I don't think so. Didn't they say they were going to do it with every other one? Did we get one? Yeah, I think because we had such a long gap between Arcane Journals, we may have got one with each. I don't know that we got one with Warriors of Chaos. I could be wrong, though. But, no, I'm not expecting anything because we've just got one. Yeah, that's all I'll say. You've got an Orcs and Goblins list idea living rent-free in your head at the moment. -1 to hit spam plus gunline. Okay. I'll have a look at it on Discord later, bud, because I'd love to have a look at it now, but we've got a few lists to go through. But that does sound interesting. I'd be interested to see it. I know David was looking at, or Dave was looking at putting a list in just after cut-off as 2, unfortunately, but we'd hit too many lists. So if he's around, he's welcome to put his in Discord and ping me. I'd be interested in having a look. Oh, I need to share this one as well. Don't feel like there was much to tweak on this one. It was just a solid list. Thorgrim. Oh, Thogrim. Distraction. It's fine. Not a problem at all. Feel free to... Oh, I definitely got the wrong list here. Let me just edit that message. I've just posted the next list, which is not what we were trying to do at all. There we go. That's better. Fixed it. So, on to Hellhammer Gaming's Grand Army Bretonnians. And I feel like there was some text to go with this one. Let me just double check. Let's see what we've got here. Oh yeah, Thorgrim's was looking for a universal Chaos Dwarfs list, and I think he managed to do that. Here we go. So Hellhammer March Tournament, 2,000 points. The list I want to take to an RTT event in March. So this list, I think, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to take out the standard bearer musician on everything. I know peasants don't give up points for them, but you're just like, they still give up points in that you're paying points to give them things that they don't need to be given. Unless you have them modelled, at which point, you know, go wild. But look, we've just taken them off all the peasants and you freed up 40 points. I think that's probably good. Especially when you've got 99 points available in characters. And we're at 651 points here in core, so we can make some cuts there if we need to as well. Okay, so we've got Baron here. So we've gone for Baron with Anointed Armor, Gauntlet of the Duel, Virtue of Heroism. You've got the points to make the upgrade. I think let's just straight up put this as a Duke. And then we'll tweak it later on if we need to. So the Duke is going to be doing the same thing but better. You've just got more stats, right? You got a better strength. You've got an extra attack. You've got an extra wound. You've got an extra leadership. I think the Baron's only leadership 9. And you're not Grand Army, so having the better leadership is quite important in my opinion. You've wanted to go for Anointed Armor and... what else did you have on here? Gauntlet of the Duel. Is that it? Yeah, Gauntlet of the Duel. Okay, these are the 2 items you've given. So if we get rid of that... there we go. So this does the same thing, but just this is better. Anointed Armor is interesting. So Anointed Armor gives you what Syrian's Locket gives you, which is immunity to multiple wounds. But it also gives you immunity to Killing Blow. And if you're expecting to see a lot of Bretonnians, I actually kind of like this. So you don't get the 2-up save rerolling ones, which does suck to lose. But in the Killing Blow match, you just straight up win because you will never get Killing Blow. So I think that's quite spicy. I'd be tempted as well to, because you've got all these points, right? So I'd be tempted to put a Paymaster's Coin on there just to get the rerolls. Because if you're playing the casino character, you want to actually get them off. Here, you've got the Prophetess with level 4 Prayer Icon of Quenelles and the Falcon Horn. That's all good. But you've gone for Illusion, which confuses me. Because Illusion is not a role that I think I want to be rolling into. Jay, so I won't be able to get to your list. The list submission goes up on the day before of the stream, and then I close it about an hour or two beforehand. But, you know, feel free to put it in the, like, relevant channel. So it would be the Empire channel. That would be the best place to post it. And then in 2 weeks' time, I'll post an announcement saying that, you know, the next stream's going up. Feel free to submit your lists. So I don't think this Prophetess should be Illusion, unless you've got a very specific role for it. Because your dry rolling spells, I think you've got to go Battle Magic. Like, you want to be trying to get Arcane Urgency. You're going to be probably picking the Lady's Gift to give a unit regen. Arcane Urgency is really effective. Oaken Shield is not terrible, because it just gives you an unconditional 5-up ward save. And then also Pillar of Fire and Fireball are really good as well. So I think that just makes more sense. This Paladin, you've given Warbanner... oh, yeah, this is... I don't know if this is something you've missed, but the Paladin join a unit. You get +1 CR, but you can't join a unit, which is, I think, not good. I think I wouldn't be running around. Because even on a roll Pegasus, you're still only 3 wounds, right? Roll Pegasus gives +1, yeah. So you're 3 wounds at T5, which is fine. And you've got the Grommel Great Helm, but I don't know. That's dicey. The water's not that great since you have Blessing. I agree. I'm taking the law more specifically because there's more spells in there that I can roll into. I think Illusion, if I'm dry rolling Illusion, I'm sad most of the time. That's how I'm looking at it. You could go Elementalism, but I think that doesn't do much for you either. Because as well, you've got... like, realistically, signature spells, you're probably going to be taking the Lady's Gift, right? You're going to be giving them the regen as well. Ah, LC, no worries at all. Your list is in a few anyway. Let's have a look. You said I can... what I'll do is I'll move you down the chain, but give me a shout when you're back, and I will get to it at that point. Yeah, cool. So I think... unless you've got a specific reason to take Illusion, in which case, if you do, probably drop the prayer icon and take Lore Familiar and just take power scrolls and do what you need to do with illusion there. The damsel, I don't think a level 2 damsel really does anything here. I'm just going to cut that entirely. I don't think it adds anything realistically. And this paladin, I think, I mean, you've given him the Grummel Greathelm. This is one that I wish Hellhammer was here, because I'd like to discuss why you've gone with the choices. Because if you're planning on using this as a solo character, I'm concerned it's too squishy, because you've only got 3 wounds at T5 with it. Yes, admittedly a 2-up save, rerolling 1s, but that can just be dropped by a cannon. Bretonnian magic lore is so good. It is good, yeah. That's why I think instead of going for illusion and taking a lore familiar, you just go for battle magic. But yeah, I think that's that. Oh, you know what, actually? I've just realised what it's probably here for. To go with the men-at-arms and to give them a regen save. Let's add it back in, because I'm assuming that it's for that reason. And to give them a ward save as well. Let's have a look here. So an Earthing Rod and Syrian's Locket. I don't think... I wouldn't bother with Syrian's Locket on the damsel. If you're being hit at all, you've only got 2 wounds. Like, you're going to fall over either way. So we can make the cut there. But yeah, I can see the level 2 buffing up the men-at-arms with elementalism. That makes sense. We've got 31 men-at-arms, 2 units of peasant bowmen, Knights of the Realm as well. Knights of the Realm are fine. I think we can cut the first knight on both of these units. Again, you just don't want to be challenged out, in my opinion. And how many points over does that put us? 1 point over. Fantastic. I really like this unit of Pegasus Knights. Full command. I'm a big fan of full command on a unit of Peg Knights, especially when you've got a character to join them. Banner of Shalons is just nice, turning off the stand and shoot. I do really like Banner of Honourable Warfare, but I think that's a second Peg Knight upgrade. And so we probably just drop a single unit, a single model from the Men-at-Arms. And this probably feels more how I'd want to build things up. But yeah, this is one that if you watch this Hellhammer Gaming, I'd be interested to hear your thinking about what you've got in there, and if there's specific reasons for things that I've taken out, I'd be interested in discussing why you've got those in. Okie dokie. So. Let's move on to Red Panda's Beastmen. Red Panda's Beastmen. This is a triple Gorgon list, which is... I don't necessarily rate triple Gorgons, but it is a stat check, and it is a theme that we're building around. So, the list is 3 Gorgons, a unit of Harpies, loads of stuff in core, and then a level 4 on a Chariot, and a Doom Bull as well. The Doom Bull is solid. Bedazzling Helm, Healing Potion, Slug Skin is good. I kind of want it to hit harder, is the problem. Hey! Celtic Fire Gaming. I'm assuming this is Red Panda, right? So, this is solid, but if I see this with a dragon, I'm not particularly scared to fight it. Whereas if you had the combination of Ogre Blade and Gouge Tusks, you can just kind of go off and do lots of multiple wounds. Having experienced that, I lost 6 wounds on a dragon having charged into the Doom Bull. Slug Skin's super important, don't get me wrong, but I'd just be tempted to put it into a second character. And also, I think the damage from the Doom Bull was one of the concerns too. Yeah, cool. Let's go with that build then, because I have first-hand experience in how terrifying it is to face head-on. I like the healing potion. We're going to have to cut it just because we don't have points, but this is one of the few characters in the game that I'm like, oh, you know what? Healing potion does actually go hard, because you've got 5 wounds base. 5 wounds at T5 with the Bedazzling Helm getting you up to a decent armor save. So we're going to go... Let's go Enchanted Shield, because realistically, the things that are going to hit you, you're going to be hit by an Ogre Blade, which, if that gets you, too bad, so sad, they're probably going to do enough damage. A lot of the time, you're going to be facing off against, like, stomps, and you're going to be facing off against dragon attacks, and then, like, a great weapon, an elf with a great weapon on top of a dragon. That's what I'd be more concerned about. So, I think Enchanted Shield. But it's your meta may vary. So if you find you're facing Ogre Blade characters all the time, change to a Charm Shield. And then we're going to go Giant's Blade, and then we're going to go Gouge Tusks, and we're going to go Gnarled Hide as well. And this combination gets you to a 2-up save with the Heavy Armor, the Charmed Shield, sorry, Enchanted Shield, Gnarled Hide, and Bedazzling Helm. So that gives you effectively a 4-up armor save against a dragon, which is pretty solid. Even that bloody Ogre Blade is going to be only wounding you. You know, you're going to be saving half of them, which is pretty good. But that does mean that you need a second character to put the Slug Skin on, which is actually going to be really hard in this list. I don't know if we can do it. Slug Skin's really important. But then you do hit hard. Stomps ruin you. I don't know that they do, because you've got a 2-up armor save. So Stomps, yes, they'll be wounding you on 2s, but then you're saving half of them. Like, obviously, you're not getting the benefit of the Bedazzling Helm for the whatchamacallit, but on average, you take, what, 3.5 hits? No, 3.5 hits. Call it 3 wounds, because you'd probably drop 1, and then you're going to save half of them. So you're going to take a wound and a half. Try tooling around a War Gore in the list, but you need to take a Gorgon out for that. Yeah, that's the problem. Or the other alternative is you put the Bray Shaman in with the unit, which I don't know that I love. You can do that, but you're giving up a lot of flexibility to do that. So what can we cut here? So let's just assume that we're going as cheap as possible. So we're dropping the Power Scroll, we're keeping the Hag Tree Fetish, we're keeping the Talisman of Protection, we're keeping the Tusker Chariot, we're keeping the level 4 Wizard. This is all good. We're going to drop the Harpies as well. There's just no way we can fit a War Gore in with Slug Skin. We're 26 points over. Okay, I think we just have to accept that we're not putting a War Gore in. Okay. We just gotta, you know, them's our lumps. We're just gonna live with that, I guess. So, on the Great Bray Shaman, Ruby Ring of Ruin versus Power Scroll. Do you have a specific reason that you want to go for Power Scroll? Just because the Vile Tide does so much damage? Is that the thinking? Rather than having the consistent, you know, 6 turns to try and cast Ruby Ring of Ruin. I'd lean towards Ruby Ring, but I guess the turns that you don't get the Vile Tide off, it really sucks. So I'll put it back to how you had it, because I'm assuming there's a reason for that. I'll scroll there. Okie dokie. So, let's have a look here. So in core, I think I'd make some tweaks in core. I think 20 is a little bit low, honestly. I'd probably want to go up to, like, let's say 30. You could go Armor of Destiny. Yeah, that's an option. Oh, you aren't in love with the Power Scroll. That's fine. So let's just take that off and put the Ruby Ring of Ruin on. So I think having the consistent spellcast in there. Entropy saying, don't rate the Bedazzling Helm, go Armor of Destiny, get a 4-up ward, and then take off Gnarled Hide and get Slug Skin. That is another way you can go, but the problem is if you're doing that, you're losing Gouge Tusks, and Gouge Tusks, I think, are necessary if you're taking the Giant's Blade. So we're then just going back to the problem where you can't run you're running a great weapon and you're just not threatening a dragon at all when they charge you. Whereas the Gouge Tusk and Giant Blade combo does mean that sometimes you just lose 4 to 6 wounds on a dragon, having been on the receiving end of it. Okay, so I think you want to go for a bigger Gore Herd here, right? So, I don't think you need that 3rd unit of Warhounds, realistically. 2 is good, 3 is overkill. No, it's fine, but just explaining the thinking. Yeah, so something like this, honestly, I just take out one unit of Warhounds and take the Gore Herd up to a bigger unit, because they are kind of squishy. They are T4, which is nice, but they don't actually have much inbuilt defense, so they can really get chipped away by shooting. And if you've got someone with shooting and a melee threat, they can just finish them off when they get down to a small unit, which is a little concerning. But yeah, I think in terms of going with the Gorgons, this is solid. Oh, we did take the Harpies out, didn't we? Bugger. How many do we have to drop here to... Oh, 24. That feels a bit low. I could see... Honestly, I'm not sure the Ungor are doing much for you. I'd rather go something like this. Oh, the Harpies are pushing us over the points limit. Okay. I think the Harpies just come out. Like, they're good, but I think playing around with them puts us in a little bit of a difficult spot points-wise. So something like that might be better. You also only have 30 gold right now, so that's the max you can run. Alright, let's go down to 30. And then we'll go... Ungoro, great screen for the Shaman. That's fair. So let's just go... like that. Something like that. Those last few points, feel free to play around with. There's definitely tweaks that we can go with there, but I think that's a solid shout. And yeah, you've got your wall of Gorgons to run forwards with, which is definitely a fun build. And if people realise, like, or forget to not charge you with their dragons, then they're in for a nasty surprise if you roll some sixes. Okie dokie. So, next up, we had Jordan's points denial list. Let's have a look here. No worries at all. As always, if you've got any thoughts, feel free to post it in the Beastmen channel and then ping me, and we can look at other changes. But I'd be interested to hear how you get on with the Giant Blade Gouge Tusk combo, because I found it very difficult to play against. Jordan, let's have a look. So, yes, here we go. Jordan was trying to make points denial work with a Demon Slayer. Says, pretty sure that the 400 points of Demon Seekers are bad. Probably replaced with Grudge Throwers to try and pull the opponent towards the angry Gingers. So, first problem, you've got a Demon Slayer with additional hand weapon. I'm pretty sure that none of these weapon runes actually apply. Because weapon runes apply to a hand weapon or a great weapon. So I'm pretty sure additional hand weapons just stops this from working, which is very dumb. So I guess we just lose that, or we go for a great weapon here. That probably makes sense. I mean, I'm not sure that this is doing all that much. So you've got Rune of Wrath, which gives you +1 attack. That's cool. You've got Rune of the Dishonored, which gives you the don't count for points if they die, and then a single 3-up ward save on the last wound. Then we've got the Master Rune of Swiftness for strikes first, and a Rune of Cleaving as well for an extra AP. That's hand weapon only, so we'd have to take that off. I'll be honest, I'm not impressed by a Demon Slayer, but I think you specifically said you wanted to try the Demon Slayer. Let's have a look here. Yeah, trying to make points in our work with a Demon Slayer, so let's leave that in. We've got an Anvil of Doom. I'm also not a fan of the Master Rune of Adamant. I know why people like it. I know Richie likes it. It gives you T10, but I'm just not sold. I don't think it's the way to build the Anvil. I'm a much bigger fan of going for something like the Rune of... Where's it gone? You could give it the Master Rune of Grommel, honestly. I don't hate that. In fact, that would be really hard to get around. But we'll leave the Master Rune Adamant on, because I think that's a personal preference thing. Then we've got the Thane. So you haven't got the Gun Thane for some reason. The Gun Thane is one of the best things in the game. Just straight up, one of the best things in the game. And also you haven't got the ward save. So I think we've got to make some cuts, and we've got to get this Thane up to being effective, right? So we go Shield Bearers, and we're going to go Master Rune of Grugni. So we've got the ward save. We're 100 points over. God, that's rough. Because we still need to put so many points on this unit here. Rune of Preservation and 2 runes of Toughness seems like a better build. Yeah, like there's a lot better you can do, in my opinion. I don't personally find it to be a good build. 2d3 hits. There we go. So that's the Thane. It is expensive, but it's worth doing. The problem is, like, this is so much that we have to cut here, right? Rune of Preservation. What is the Rune of Preservation? That's the no killing blow, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know how we're making cuts to also fit the Demon Slayer in, because I think the Demon Slayer is just terrible. But it is specifically requested to be in. Maybe we go risky and we say, okay, there's no shield bearers. I think not having shield bearers is a real genuine risk, but let's play around with that and then see if there's anything else we can do. Let's drop the... Oh god, we've dropped the Rune of Battle already. It is Grogny that we wanted, isn't it? Yeah. So the King, Great Weapon, Shield Bearers, Smiting, yep, that's fine. Here with the Great Weapon, because the hand weapons don't work. Just don't get wounded, yeah. True. True. Let's go Preservation so you don't get killed by dragons. Not dragons, killed by cannons. We're still 36 points over. God, this is so many points to cut. I feel like we've just got to try and do something. A 2-up ward against a single wound. I can see that being cut. To be fair, I don't think Rune of Preservation does make the Shield Bearers less essential. Oh, not on the King. I think the King you have to go for the Shield Bearers as well, because on the King you need to chunk through. Basically, a dragon's going to do like 3 wounds to you or something like that, so you need to survive to hit them twice. We need to drop a shield, so maybe we just go... Oh, I don't want to drop a shield here. That feels so rough. We haven't got a shield there. Oh, God. What are we dropping? There's just nothing to drop. I think it just has to be the shield here, but I'm very unhappy about it. Dropping that shield under duress. But I think this is better, because you've got a model that does something and also provides the ward save to the big bunker. Speaking of doing things, these Thunderers have no purpose. Let's just get rid of them. And let's just buff up the Rangers, because Rangers are going to do more. Maybe we put something in there. Dwarf Cart is fine. I guess you've got enough stuff that you're running towards them. But as Jordan says, he says, thinking of cutting these 400 points and putting in ranged weapons so they actually do something. And I think that's probably the better way to go. So let's just cut all of the Doomseekers for now, because I'm not sold on them. And honestly, if we're cutting the Doomseekers, I kind of feel like the Dwarf Cart can go. Maybe not, actually, because you can yeet the King plus Thane combo up. I'd like to go for 2 Thanes, which is why this one's got the shooting stuff as well as the BSB. But we're squeezed on points because of the Demon Slayer. Wouldn't Longbeards be better? Longbeards would be better, but you get more wounds for the Dwarf Warriors. And honestly, they wouldn't be that much better, because if you're only using them as T4 wounds with heavy armor and shield, they're still doing basically the same thing. Because what rules do Longbeards have over Warriors? They've got Veteran, but you're a Dwarf with a BSB as well, so you're kind of okay. You've paid for the Drilled already on the Warriors. Grommel weapons. I don't think it makes much difference, honestly. So Longbeards are... how many points is this? So if we go... Shields, Drilled, Veteran. We're talking 55 points for the Warriors for 5. So we're talking 11 points per model. And then if we're looking at the Longbeards, and we're going Shields and Drilled, that takes us up to... Yeah, I think the Warriors make sense, just as a cheap bunker. Because they're basically just additional wounds to put the characters in with. At which point, you know, you're not actually doing much with them. You're not expecting them to attack. And you've got all of the same rules, basically, because you've paid for, like, Veterans, you've paid for Drilled, and you're still cheaper. The Master Rune of Hesitation here is pretty nice. Just makes it harder for someone to run at you. Oh, yeah, and then we're going to go, I guess, double Grudge Thrower. Oh, God, there's no Engineers as well. This Demon Slayer is just... It's so hard to write lists with. Okay, so we've got to go Rune of Reloading on one, and then the other one will go Rune of Reloading. Oh no, sorry, it's Rune of Forging, I'm thinking, isn't it? Forging is the single misfire, reloading. Yeah, there we go. So we'll go one with reloading and one with, one with forging and one with reloading and forging. There we go. And that still leaves us with this many points. Honestly, let's just put one more Doomseeker in. Where have you gone? Here we go. So we can go one Doomseeker, and you've still got double Grudge Thrower, which kind of gives you a little bit more. So what do we want to go with? What was the loadout that Jordan had been playing around with? Speed, Fury, Endless Battle. So Endless Battle is great. Endless Battle is really interesting. If you charge, every attack that causes an unsaved wound makes an additional attack. So impact hits don't, but you know, that's fine. So then you can take more. How many points we've got? We've got a lot of points. We don't necessarily want to put all the points into this, but we could go... Rune of Wrath is pretty cheap. And... don't care about that. Don't mind that. Maybe we just then go... was it Rune of Fury for +1 attack? Yes. It is just a basic hand weapon with Grommel weapons. So I think we want to go Rune of Cleaving as well to give it a pip of AP. What if we just went 2 of those to get it AP3? Is that better? Is AP3 better? Because you've got 2d3 + 1 attacks from the Rune of Wrath. Yeah. No, let's go AP2 and then let's go for an additional attack. So this is a pretty effective Doomseeker. It's going to do a good chunk if it ever gets the charge off. And then let's just buff this unit ranges up a little bit. Maybe Ulrich. Let's have a look at Ulrich. They've all got funny names, so I always forget which one does which. Ulrich the Mad turns off armor saves. I think that's very expensive for what it does. Like, it's not bad, but AP2 is pretty solid. I think instead of that, I'd rather go for 2 runes of cleaving. That would 30 points getting you to AP3. It's not quite the same, but this wants to be going into infantry more than anything. It doesn't want to go into dragons, so most things are going to have at best a 4 or 5 of armor save. So I think AP2 or AP3 is usually going to be for the best, because you're only strength 5 base. Yeah. Is it better to go for a +1? Actually, it might be better to go for +1 strength. Takes you to strength 6. I think I like that over the extra attack more. And you can then go... yeah. Okay. Yeah, that works. Something like that. Go down to 14 ranges. Jobs are good. I think that works. And hopefully it's enough here to, like, between the Grudge Throwers, the Rangers, and the Handgun thing, hopefully that's enough to make them come towards you, because you can put out a decent amount of punishment. And then you've got a single Doomseeker, a single Demon Slayer. Both of those are going to hit real hard if they ever get there, and if not, you're giving up a lot of points. And the Bookman's Cart is quite important for that as well. So we're gonna try that one. Okay, so at Jordan. Perfect. Okie dokie. Cool. So we've got Lewis's Vampire Counts Infantry, and he said, make infantry great again. Let me just double check if he had any other restrictions on his list building. Let's see what we've got here. It just says, make infantry great again. Okie dokie. So. We've got Vampire Counts, and this is about infantry. We've got a Mortis Engine, Necromancer, level 4. Let me just bring up the right page. There we go. Crown of the Damned for the 4 up ward. Scepter of Denuro to res twice, spell Familiar Necromancy. This is just sort of like the go-to build. Got a White Lord with the Ruby Ring of Ruin BSB War Banner. Immediately, let's take that Ruby Ring of Ruin off and replace it with the Helm of Commandment. It's just going to do a lot more for you. Tomb Banshee is good, and then another Necromancer. I don't know that I necessarily care too much about the second one. I guess the second one is solid in that it's going to go with the Blood Knights, right? I don't know what's going Illusion. Is it meant to be Illusion? Have I just copied that across wrong? Bring a Strigoi. I don't think it's ever going to get anywhere, though, is the problem. Like, you can spend a lot of points to make it hit real hard, and then it just dies as soon as someone looks at it. If I'm going for, like, a hitty character, I really like the Abyssal Terror character that T-Commander's been running, and a few other people have as well. But I'm not sold on a Strigoi. Yeah. I don't understand why this is Illusion, because Illusion is not a spell lore that you want to dry roll. Glittering Robe is good, so maybe it's just for Glittering Robe. But if you're taking a Necromancer, you're probably planning on taking Law of Undeath, because you can give the unit that you're in, you know, the Dance Macabre, which is just a really good set of buffs. So I don't really know why. I'm kind of struggling for this, honestly. I'm just going to swap him over to Necromancy, because I feel like that makes way more sense. I think it just, yeah, makes sense there. Okie dokie. So, character-wise, I think this is good. We've got a White Lord that's going to buff up the unit that they're in. We've got the Necromancer, which is just a really solid loadout. We've got a second Necromancer, which Talisman of Protection is maybe overkill, but you want to make sure that the Blood Knights don't die. Although, that said, on the Nightmare, do you have... You do have Countercharge, that's okay. So you can put it in the Blood Knights without worrying. That's probably the way to do things. And it's probably why it's got the Talisman of Protection. And then the Tomb Banshee as well. Skeleton Warriors, 2 units, 1 unit at 30 unit, 1 unit at 29, full command otherwise, no other rules. I think it's right not to bother paying for the Thrusting Spears, because 5 points for a Skeleton Warrior is disgusting, 6 points is less disgusting, even if they make a few attacks. And then 2 units of Direwolves with Doom Wolves. I don't understand why we've got Doom Wolves. Let's just take those out for now. Unless they give extra leadership. What the fuck? I don't think I knew that Direwolves were leadership 3. That is horrendous. And they're war beasts as well, so they can't even get on, you know, the army's general leadership. Jesus. That's bad. That is bad. Oh, man. Well, that's thrown me off. I was not expecting that. We've got a unit of 7 Blood Knights with Supernatural Horror, so they cause terror. Castellan, yeah. Unexpected Leadership 3. It's what I thought. I'd want to see a Musician here, but you haven't got points for it. So, fuck it, we're putting a Musician in. We're going to tweak the numbers here. This Graveguard unit, who needs leadership if you're undead? Well, last time I played Lewis, I killed his general, and then his whole army started to crumble. So, in that situation, in this list, you've got 2 blocks of infantry that are just going to sit there and tank charges. I think you need a unit that does something. And you've already got the Banner of Drakenhof to give them a 5-up ward. 5-up regen. So I think drop the shields, drop the Implacable Defense, give them great weapons, and go for a bigger unit. You've got to have this unit do something. So let's call it like... you're going to have the White Lord in there, right? And let's go 7 wide. No, you probably want to go quite wide. Let's call it like 10. No, maybe 7 or 8. 8, 16, 24. Let's call it 23. That feels like a decent number to shoot for. No zombies. I don't think Lewis is a big fan of zombies, despite the fact they are good and you can res them above the starting number. Because Lewis paints very well, I don't think he just has like a pool of zombies to pull from. Blood Knights in the High Elf list. Is there a... What? This isn't High Elves. I'd like to see some ghouls. Ghouls are cool. Again, I don't think Lewis owns any. So I'm kind of working with the restrictions of what I know he owns as well. So I'm just going to drop these down a little bit. So we're going to go 24 on both of these to free up some points. Let's go 25 on both of them, and that feels probably better. Because then you've got a slightly bigger unit of Graveguard that are going to hit actually kind of hard. Hate them too, just busting the list. Yeah, they're good, but he doesn't own them, and I don't think he's going to paint a load of zombies. Zombies would be a good suggestion, though. So if you're watching this later on, Lewis, that would be a good thing to put in. Honestly, you can probably drop the drilled on the Blood Knights. If you're only going with 7 of them, it's kind of less important. And that does free up some points. At which point, let's just go... Let's buff these Skeleton Warriors up a little bit again. 28, 27. Zombies seem like they'd be fun to paint. Yeah, but he's going to do... I think he's going to do a High Elf list. And I think he's also going to do Cathay when they come out. So I'm not sure that Lewis wants to spend much more time painting infantry. And it would take him a while to do... You know, because if you're running 23 or 21 zombies, you have to paint 40 of them, right? So that's going to take him a while to get through. And it's buying 2 boxes, which is... Lewis is a... Don't tell him I said this. Lewis is a very good player. Not necessarily like... He hasn't played as much Old World, but his just general ability to play Warhammer is very good, and he was a very good 40k player. But he writes his own lists, and he plays his own style, and you look at it and you go, this feels like it's missing something, and then he just hits you with it, and you're like, ah, I've lost the game. Sad. Speculating more widely, like the idea of painting a zombie horde sometime. Hell yeah. Like, I think they're very fun models. I think they... especially if you combine them with, say, the new kit for... whatchamacallums? The new kit for Empire. God, I've forgotten the name of them. There's a very cheap new Wargames Atlantic box. Okay. I've got two dragons that are non-Games Workshop, which I should probably do a video on. Let's have a look here. Yeah, sure, whatever. Wargames Atlantic. Is there a way to do... Okay, new to old. None of these look like zombies. Those are skeletons. Here we go. Those look like zombies. Sure. How many did you get? 30 for 30 quid. That is a pretty good price. That's a pretty good multi-piece kit. Yeah, maybe that's something I should play around with. I'm looking forward to infantry being better in the future, but that's a conversation for another time. All right, LC, is LC here? Because I know they were picking up their kit, so I'm not sure if they've made it back to us yet. If yes, we'll talk about your vampire counts. If not, we will do something else. Almost tempted you to do your Romans idea as vampire counts. I think it makes more sense to do it as Tomb Kings, because Tomb Kings are more supported. Tell you what. Let's wait until Elsie comes back, and we'll have a quick look at the two two vampire count lists. Nope. The other word I'm looking for. Ah! LC says not yet. I'm assuming that's not sarcasm, and you're not able to fully concentrate. Is that correct? All right. Well, while we wait, we'll have a look at these high elf lists. High elf lists. Here we go. Yeah, correct. Cool. So let's start off with Ed's list. I'm gonna just have to change the screen here. Lovely stuff. So this is Ed's list, and because it's not in, I haven't been able to put it into Old World Builder or anything like that. I'm not going to be able to give as in-depth feedback, but let's have a look here. So there's a Prince, Full Plate, Star Dragon, Dragon Helm, Opal Amulet, Seed of Rebirth. 480 points. This is Trace. And then we've got a T7 Archmage, Level 4 Illusion Mage on a Frostheart Phoenix, Starlance, Circle of Actratraz. So you're not taking a ward save, and you're not taking a... No, that's not T7, because the Circlet only gives you +1 toughness if you're cavalry, so you're actually T6. So this doesn't work, Ed. I hate to rain on your parade, but to be fair, we've only had blurry pictures for most of the stuff. So let's not rinse him too hard. But I don't think this is the way that I would do things, because you can't get the Archmage to T7. I think if you're doing this, you'd go... Starlance was it 50 points? It was like 40 points or something like that. Let me just pull up the PDF that I have on my other screen. Let's have a look here. Okay, so Starlance is 45 points. Okay, so we can go Starlance and we can go Talisman of Protection, which is 75, and then I guess you go Silvery Wand. So that takes you to 80, 90 points for character points there. That's pretty fine. So 90 points in items, and then we've got the Archmage themselves, which costs 185. So let me just start adding this up so I don't forget it. 185 plus 90, 275. I also don't think you can take a Phoenix, right? Because you'd have to take the Elven Honor, or the Anointed of Asuryan, but if you're in Trace, you can't take that. So that's a second reason we can't do what we're trying to do here. So that's... What is it with Eds and trying to make illegal lists? God. Sorry, Steve. Let's just have a look. So you may be mounted. What can you be mounted on just natively? You can have a Moon Dragon or a Star Dragon. Either of those is fine. So, because we're at 275 plus... how many points have you got available? Like 520? So we've got 245 points. You could go for a Moon Dragon there. That works. Or you could go Cedar Rebirth instead of the Talisman of Protection. That just gives you basically the same thing. Yeah, I mean, you're only T5, which is 2 toughness lower than what you were trying to go with, but what you were trying to go with is illegal, so that's a slight problem. No lance on chariot. You can take a lance on a chariot, Ruta, I'm pretty sure. Wait, am I wrong? Fuck, I might be wrong. In my head, I'm just like, of course you can. Lance says cavalry or monster. Holy shit, you can't use a lance on a chariot. Huh. Yeah, I've just had a look. I genuinely thought you could. Interesting. Okay. That's fine. Alright. Yeah, we're not doing that. But yeah, I mean, you can put the Archmage on like a Moon Dragon and do the same thing. You aren't T7, but you can give it a ward save. Is there a better... So... Is there a 40-point magic item that we could give the Archmage instead? Because you could go Talisman of Protection, Cedar Rebirth, and... God, I've forgotten the name for it. The 15-point spell familiar that gives them +1 spell known. That comes to 60 points. So if there's a magic item that we can give them for 40 points that's worth taking, that's probably the place to go. Ooh, almost closed my Streamlabs. That would have sucked. So there's nothing that's super exciting here for High Elves. Let's just double check the PDF. No. So it just comes down to, is there anything that you'd be happy to give them for 40 points? I think 45 points is the cheapest magic item that's worth running. Could give them a Giant's Blade, but that would just be bad. Could give them a Sword of Might. Yeah. I guess you're not taking the double save then. You're just accepting that you've only got a ward save or a regen. I think that's fine. Archmage with Trace Honors could use the Great Blade. That's true. The problem with the Great Blade is you're striking at Initiative 1. And I think it is literally Initiative 1 on the charge as well, which is a bummer. It's not even Initiative 4 or Initiative 5 if you've got Elven Reflexes. I think it literally is just at Initiative step. But the wording on that is super unclear. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is the way to go. The core, you've got 2 units of 19 Woodsmen with Cloaks, Warbows, Heavy Armor, Full Command, Hammer Hand Ring. I don't think these units actually do much. Right? I think they're... I don't feel like 19 of them is the way that I'd want to go. I'd want to go with probably smaller units. Let's just have a quick look, see if there's anything that I'm missing with them. Because they have to be skirmish. They're a 4-up save against shooting, which is decent. They've got move through cover. They've got strength 4 warbows, which is fine, but it's not going to do much. I just don't feel like big units of these is going to do much of anything. I feel like in your core, maybe you just go for a big brick of the regular... even a big brick of the regular ones aren't going to do much unless you give them the toughness banner. And you can't take the banner of resilience if you've got 2 dragons. Rare 17 Lion Guard. You've literally just put as many lion boys on the table as possible. I respect it. I don't know how I would tweak this list. Like the Dragon Lord as well, I would change the Dragon Lord. So if I'm taking just a Dragon Lord... Oh, you can't even take the Calador honor. Wooda says, don't like the cloaks on them. You're going to skirmish them anyway, so not likely to get shot that much. I think when it's a third of your army between the 2 units, I like the cloaks. It's only a point per model, and you're already paying... what are we talking? 13 points a model... Yeah, we're talking 14 points a model with warbows and heavy armor. So going up to 15 points a model to give them +1 save against shooting, I think that's super fine. BSB with the toughness banner in the guard would be good. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be really, really solid. But Ed's gone for double big tanky unit, so that kind of limits the choices there. Yeah. Could take the white sword and the chariot, right, with a seed of rebirth. The problem with the white sword is it's 70 points, right? Yeah. So the white sword is 70 points, which means that if you're trying to go for illusion, you can't combo a defensive item and spell reliability. And in my opinion, just dry rolling 4 spells to try and get Spectral Doppelganger is not an acceptable way to build a list in terms of just consistency. Not if you're trying to write a good list. If you want to do it for fun, it's super fine. But for a tournament list, that's just not going to work out. And if anyone does that, I would assume that they have weighted dice. I'm not going to lie. I'd assume that they're cheating. Because they're just going to always get the spell that they want to get. Yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling with this one. I think it might be back to the drawing board, unfortunately, Ed. But yeah, maybe I'll do a stream on list building some elf units when they get added to. I think new recruit might be faster. I was talking to Tidaman earlier on, and I think he's working tirelessly on it. So I don't want to give any guesstimates on when it's going to be up on new recruit, but I'm assuming it'll be probably sooner than Old World Builder, potentially. So yeah, I think this one might be back to the drawing board. I'm not sold on it, but I'm sure you will curse my name, and then you'll we can talk about it in the VIP section here, which is here. If you are a member of the channel, make sure that you've mentioned it in the needs roll section if I haven't already applied your role on Discord, because if you're a member you get to see some VIP sections alongside voting for armies. Speaking of voting for armies, one of the videos that I'm going to do is going to be a some sort of high elf battle report, which I'll try and get a game in over the weekend. As soon as the stream goes down, I am going to put a vote in the VIP section for anyone of Longbeard tier or above to vote which faction, like which sub-faction they want me to play for high elves. So if you want to become a member, there's a motivation too. And if you're a member already, make sure that you've got the needs roll. Comment in needs roll if you haven't got it already. I see Elsie's back. But we'll do the other list as well, just while we're here. So this is the list for... Hold on, can I zoom this up at all? Tell you what, let's open it in browser. And let's do this properly. Okay, I've accidentally closed the wrong thing, but that's okay, because what I was trying to do is this. If I go back to... Why aren't you showing anything? Let's look at the mess you sent me, yeah. That'll be good. I'm interested to see. Oops, let's not show Streamlabs. There we go. Okie dokie. So, this is a piece of paper with printed text on it. You don't see that very often. So, in fact, what if I... Let's do this. This feels like it's a good place to go. My PC's frozen. What happens if I go... tell you what, we're just going to hide this for a second, just in case something goes wrong. But let me save that, and then let me open it here. And instead, let's... Come on, baby. I believe in you. Boom! Now, I'm just going to have to move it on the screen, but look at that. Look at that. So we've got a list in Paint. Your next list to be fixed is going to be handrip and entropy. Please don't do that. Please, no. Save me. It's very acceptable because High Elves are not on any of the list building formats, but it does make my life more difficult. It's fine. Like it's not a problem. I just don't want people to make it a regular thing for funnies because it makes my life a little bit more difficult. It's not a problem. Okay, so let's get pen and let's go red. So we've got Core Hill. Core Hill does not have a chariot. Immediately, I'm like, I'm thinking chariots are good. We have got 2 chariots here. So, in fact, let's just get rid of those. I don't need to actually have the red on there. These are pretty solid as a standalone unit. 6 wounds at T4. They've got a 3-up save against shooting. No ward save. I'd probably give these at least... where's my mouse gone? There we go. So, plus seed times 2. So equals 40 points. Look at that. Oh, I'm so good at writing lists. Looks like you're grading someone's homework. So we're going to start you off at an F, and we're going to come back and see if we can improve that. I thought about running it with Core Hill, but I have the old model with him running. That's fair enough. You know what? I'm a big fan of just, you know, that sort of shenanigans. Okay, so you've got the bolt throwers. Let's just assume they're gone, because bolt throwers... You feel free to try and convince me in the chat. I'm not saying I won't be convinced, but you know, feel free to convince me. So you've got 10 woodsmen with a Stormweaver, and you've gone Bow of Avalon. Oh, because you get it for Shadow Stalker. Let me just on the other screen. Let's have a look here. So I remember looking at Shadow Stalker and be like, that is a lot of rules. So free Bow of Avalon is good. You get ambushes, evasive, fire and flee, move through cover, and scouts. That's so many rules. Like, that's just a lot of rules for only 20 points. Woodsmen are really good. I'm a big fan. What lore are you going with for the Stormweaver? Is this dark magic? Is this a dark magic caster? Pretty crap. I owned multiple sets of the 4th edition ones. Bolt throwers. Yeah, okay, that's fair. They might go back in if you're in love with them. I don't think this is an F, by the way. This feels needlessly cruel. I think we're starting off at a B minus, and we'll come back and tweak it. So the Stormweaver up the field with Lore Familiar and Dark. Yeah. So immediately what we're going to go here is we're going to go plus Power Scroll. Power Scroll equals 30 points. So the reason we're doing that is you're only a level 3 caster. You're probably going to start the game or be within the Dispel range of your opponent. I wouldn't hate seeing like a Dispel-focused item here as well, but that's kind of less important. We want to make sure you get Battle Lust off, right? Maybe you go plus 2 Power Scrolls. You have got points for it. And also Power Scroll is not 30 points. What am I smoking? So plus 2 Power Scrolls plus 40 points. Look at how neat this is. Let's just go. This is absolutely tiny. I hope you're enjoying this because this is just like a nightmare. I feel like I'm in a fever dream. Plus 40 points, so that's good there. Okay, so we've added 40 points to make the chieftains not die immediately and to make the Stormweaver do something, but otherwise I think that's pretty okay. Now it's starting to look like my homework. Hell yeah. Someone do an oops, accidentally Wood Elf shooty chase list. I think you probably could. 2 units of White Lions, 18. That's a solid number. Full command there, but no upgrades. Are there any upgrades that we want to give the... Honestly, I don't think there's anything I'm super bothered about giving them defensively, like banner. No, they've got move through cover already. Yeah, honestly, this is fine. This is fine. I'm not actually bothered about giving them anything. Maybe the hammer hand ring. Yeah, the hammer hand ring would be fine, but I think that's not necessarily going to make the difference in these unsupported units. So let's just leave them as they stand for now. Lion Guard, I assume Coil's joining him. War Banner's good. I think here let's go plus Hammer Hand. In fact, no, let's not do that. Let's go plus Lawmaster's Cloak. Equals 25 points. So far, we've added 105 points, so plus 105. Why is it so thin? Let's make the brush less thin. Is there a... Here we go. There we go, that's better. We don't actually need to write plus 105 on there. So we've lost... So we're minus 160, and we're plus 100 so far. So that gives us 60 points to play around with. Yeah, good stuff there. Carving my list into the stone tablet right now. You rat bastard. What type of typewriter do you prefer? This is very interesting just compared to world building. Yeah, it's way harder for me. It's a lot harder for me to conceptualize what goes there. It's not a problem, but it's definitely not my go-to. I'm gonna make this one less there. So Corhill, I like Corhill. I think he's kind of jazzed. And honestly, maybe not making him a chariot is fair because I don't think he's got a ward save. He's just got an armor save. Didn't know they sent telegrams this late on Friday. It's the telegram office. Stop. It says you're a dick. Stop. Don't write back. Full stop. Use a camera, edit the list with pen and paper. Oh, that's probably a better idea, honestly. The other thing I could do is XL. XL would have made more sense. Quill does have regen. Oh, he does, doesn't he? He has a 5-up regen. So yeah, him on a chariot's super fine there. Yeah, this feels fine. Like, honestly, I'm kind of wondering if instead of here, like having 1 brick of White Lions and 1 brick of Lion Guard seems solid. But what if instead of this, you just had more Tracy and Hunt's Woodsman? Is that better? Because this is 252 plus 7 plus 6 plus 6, so 12... 18, 19, 79, so minus 279. And then this is 150. So you could put, so times 3 plus 300. So then that gives us 39 points left to play with, which is fine. The Gutenberg printing press. You Americans and your inventions. Could drop a few Line Guard to get 105 points to slap on a chariot. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. But I kind of... you know what? I think that is better. You're all right. 105 points feels steep. Chariot. Oh, this feels so cursed. Plus 105. So we're now 60 points over, right? So 66 points over. So we need to free up 66 points. So we drop this down to just 1 power scroll. So 20. So then we're 46 over. And then we just go... How important is it to have full command on the Tracing Woodsman? You don't have full command. Okay, that's good, because it's not important at all. The Lion Guard, like 46 points. How many points is a Lion Guard each? It's 16, right? So we drop one of those and 2 white lions. So we just go something like 16, and then we go 16 here. Is that right? 660 is for core is tough. It 100% is. But we have put in the Tracing Woodsman, who I do quite like. The Nottingham monks who spend all day rewriting copies of tomes. Yeah. Bring me my my feathered quill. 18 each. Thought I'd trace dragon with a 90-point axe. I hate it. I hate it. Because you can get to a 2-up armor safe and then have no other defenses. And you know, like, oh, I rolled a 6 to crit with my, 6 to wound with my Empire cannon or my Exiles cannon. And wounds in multiples of 4. Chieftains plus chariot. The Stormweaver with a single power scroll. Just one here. In fact, let's neaten this up, make it more readable. Because Lord knows I need to do a better job of that, eh? Plus 1. The fucking size changes every time. Yeah, and I think... If we just get rid of that, we don't need it. I think we've kind of come up with a solid list. Like, don't be wrong, it's still not... Like, it's infantry plus chariots. I'm not calling this the list to list all lists. But I think it's better than it was. So you've got a unit of Line Guard, you've got a unit of White Lions, you've got 3 units of the Tracing Woodsman, who are just a little bit sexier, right? Oh, wait, hold on, fuck. Oh, no. Have we done bad maths? 279 plus 300. We're about 80 points under on core. I know this is crap, just fun crap. Yeah, that's good, as long as we're on the same page. We need more core. We need more core. So, okay. What we're going to do is we're going to work out how many fucking points we need here. Where's my calculator gone? I've just closed it. $660 minus 279. So we need 381 points. And they're 15 each, so divide by 15. So we need... Oh, nope. Fuck, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm adding 300 points on the 150 that are already there. We're fine. We're above core. This is your list. Read it and weep. Read it and weep. And if I remember, I'll post it into Discord later on. But I'm not. I'll fuck around with that later on. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that we're here. That was truly an experience for all friends and family. Thank you for coming with me on that experience. So if we then just go... Is this the one? There we go. And I just need to move the screen back to where it was. Fan-dabby-dozy. If only there was an app we could use to calculate points automatically. By next stream, there will be. I won't be streaming next Friday, by the way. Now's probably the best time to tell you all. But I am going to the Saffron Slam, which there are still tickets for. It is pretty much your last chance now to get any. They should be in the description if you want to pick up any tickets. It's in Saffron Walden. It's next weekend, the 22nd, 23rd. It's a 5-round GT. I will be there playing with some army I haven't decided yet. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, if you want it, I'm just double checking now that it is in the description. Oh, it's not. It's not. Let me put it in. I think the website is Elmer Miniatures. And then if you go to the tickets, click the tickets. Here we go. Saffron Slam. There we go. Save that one.
Till next time we send our lists by Telegram.
You absolutely can. I can't stop you. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, that's not Telegram. That's Morse code. I don't know. So it has a sense if only there's a way to upload a digital list that didn't involve printing it out and taking a picture of it. It has charm, honestly. It does have charm. I'm pretty on board with that. Appreciated the How to Win video. Fantastic. I'm glad it's come over well. I was honestly a little concerned about the reception it was going to get because my viewers are pretty sane. Usually pretty sane. Pretty good bunch. I like the lot of you. The general old world player base has a subsect of people who are offended that some people put thought into playing games and they don't just play every game in the garage with a beer and they play once a year. And that is an oversimplification, but some people genuinely are upset that people play with a competitive, approach. So I was a little concerned that it was going to get hate. But yeah, there we go. It's the skiving at work, which we appreciate in this house. Okay, all right. So Elsie, I did see that you were back, and now I will talk about your list. I find the concept of an old world player who thinks that offensive. Yeah, me too. I think it's really rude. I'm never going to yuck their yum if they just want to play a casual game. I'm all for it. I think that's a lot of fun. I love people enjoying the game in the way that they want to enjoy it. I think it's just shitty that people try and gatekeep the hobby. Some people want to play more competitively, some people don't, and we should enjoy the way that we like to play. Hey, Elsie. So, Elsie says, our group has gone up to 2,500 points and having a lot of fun with it. Great stuff. What I was just saying, people should play the way they want to play and enjoy themselves. Great example. We might settle on 22,000 or so because it feels like you don't have to make a lot of hard choice at 2.5k. I agree. I like 2,000 because you have to make cuts and you have to make difficult choices. But that's a personal preference. I can see why people like having more toys. I've been tweaking this list for a few weeks to arrive at a solid all-comers vampire counts list that isn't super sweaty, as it is still a pretty casual group. Cool. Biggest question I have is around the Spirit Horde. I think they can be a nasty surprise if you're not prepared for them, and I can only think to spend the points on more Blood Knights, which feels less fun. Super reasonable. So, let's have a look at this list, because there were some things I wanted to tweak here. So. Where do we want to start? Okay. Let's start with the vampire count. So you've gone for a great weapon, you can't take armor because you've gone for a level 2 wizard, you've gone for illusion on an abyssal terror, you've gone for the master of the black arts, which makes you a level 3 caster, you've gone for the dark acolyte, which gives you the res as a level 1, so you can heal yourself for a single wound each turn. That's good. It's 30 points, but you've got the points to spend. You've got 2,500 points. And then item-wise, you've gone for talisman of protection to give you a ward save, good stuff, lore familiar, and a power scroll. This is a good loadout. There's not really any notes. I like this. This is fun. He is expensive, but he's going to take his pound of flesh. This character, the Master Necromancer, I do have some notes. So you've gone for the Ruby Ring of Ruin, and you haven't given him a ward save. Let's fix that, because that is your general, and your general cannot afford to die. Drop musicians? Wrong. Musicians are always good. I'm a huge fan of musicians. I've been in situations where I've lost combat to combat res because the vampire count player has had enough combat res to match my damage from my dragon. Then they've double outnumbered me, and then they've chased me down because they won combat because of the musician. He should have Crown of the Damned. Cool, we're on board. I don't have to convince you because he now has Crown of the Damned. Otherwise, this setup is really good. Double res, spell familiar. Yeah, that came out more harshly than I intended it to. It's not an attack on you. I'm just a big I'm musician pilled. I've been saying I'm a huge fan of musicians, and I think everyone should take them. Stays within the BSB bubble to reroll the leadership test. 100%, you are correct. So that's good here. Then you've got a Tomb Banshee, which is solid, and you've got the White Lord. You could give this the White Lord the crown or Helm of Commandment to give it the, because I'm assuming it's going in the Great Weapons, and the Helm of Commandment is obviously very good. Gives them +3 modifier to their weapon skill. But maybe you don't want it. That does take the list into a slightly better version of the list, so maybe you don't want to bother with that, which would be fair enough. Single Banshee and a single Terrorgeist is pretty reasonable. Oh, you have got a Mortis Engine as well. 3 Screams. It's 2,500 points. They should be able to deal with that. Core, unit of 10 Crypt Ghouls. These things are fantastic. Crypt Ghast, what does that give you? Just one attack. I guess undead having champions is usually good, because normally you don't want to be challenged out, but with undead you're all about being challenged out so you can res them, so that's probably fine. 2 units of die walls, a unit of Grade Guard with great weapons, shield. 3 screams, felt a little bad about, didn't know what else to spell the points on. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? So, like, if I'm dropping one, I'm dropping the Terrorgeist, realistically, and that's a lot of points. And if you're dropping them, you're probably going for a bigger unit of Blood Knights, which is arguably more of a problem. Screams feel bad to play against, but Blood Knights, like a big unit of Blood Knights, is very hard to shift. Spirit Hosts, they're very expensive for what they bring, but we talked about them earlier in the stream. They're pretty solid. They can only be dealt with by magical attacks, right? So some armies can just deal with them, and some armies you just get into the flank and they never get out, which is really frustrating for them. I don't mean that in a negative way, just it's a strong tool to have. So here, it's always a choice whether you put the Drakenhof banner in with the Graveguard or the Blood Knights. I guess because you've only got 6, you probably want to put the defensive buff there. That does make sense. Honestly, you could probably drop Drilled, but I don't know that there's anything that I'm particularly in love with changing. So you can either go full Blood Knights or full Streams to be really optimal, so trying to be an in-between. Yeah, that's super reasonable. The Fellbats, I quite like Fellbats. You don't see them very often, but they're a low wound count, which is maybe why you don't see them, but they're only 15 points each. They got 2 wounds, 2 attacks with hand weapons at strength 3, weapon skill 3, but they fly 10, so they're just like a cannon botherer, basically, and they're a very cheap unit that does that, so I quite like them. They're also monstrous infantry, which means that their their unit strength 6 unit strength 9 for the 3 of them, even though they only have 2 wounds each, which I think is quite funny, and it means that the fear might actually have some sort of effect. This, I think, outside of changing this over to Crown of the Damned, potentially putting the Helmet Commandment on here, I don't think I want to make too many changes, because we don't want to make this list too good, right? I think you've hit like a reasonable middle ground. Like the Graveguard, because they don't have the Drakenhof banner, this unit could be crumpled, especially at 2,500 points. If you get multi-charged, you could be in trouble. And here, this unit of Blood Knights could definitely fall apart because they're not too big. What about a Corpse Cart? That's interesting. Yeah. That is an interesting choice. Corpse Carts are pretty solid, for those of you who haven't seen them before. So you have got the Warped Tintibulation. When you res with Invocation of the Heck, you, on a 4+, you get +1 wound, and also you lose 1 less wound to Unstable, which stacks with an Indomitable. This is actually really nice with the Vampire Count. I think that's a really solid shout. Do you have a Corpse Cart that you could put in? Because if you wanted to take out one of the Screams, take out the Terrorgeist, you put in a Corpse Cart, no one's going to be grumbling about a Corpse Cart, that's for sure. Unless they've got the priorities real wrong. It's also another Invocate. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And when was the last time you're going to put it on the table? I've played against one this edition. I was thoroughly whelmed. It was like super okay. Which is not shabby. At which point we've got 75 points or 76 points. So I think you just go to 7. And then I think we're avoiding the Helmet Commandment. Like, if you find this list needs a bit more punch, go Helmet Commandment here. But otherwise, let's just go something like this, and then 1 more zombie. And I think something like that is a really solid middle ground without getting too buffed up. Yeah, I think like there's obvious ways to buff it, right? If you wanted to go, if you find it's not good enough, Helmet Commandment here, probably swap the regen banner to here. Get the unit of Blood Knights a bit bigger so they're not leaning on the Drakenhof banner. It says that's the thing. I feel like so much in the list is okay to not bad, but there are such standout units you get drawn to them. Yeah, that's true. Callum says no more Helmet Commandment. Let's put the Helmet Commandment in. I tell you what, Vargeist as well is cool. T-Commander, who I spoke to, I interviewed recently, he's been playing the Vargeist. I've been impressed by the stat line. Like, I look at them and I go, it's pretty spicy. Now, they are frenzied, and they do have 360, so they're like much much less effective Pegasus Knights. But being less effective than a Pegasus Knight is not a slur. Had one killer unit of War Dancers with impact hits. That's funny. You were thinking about Vargeists. Yeah, let's put the Vargeists in, man. Let's do that. The question becomes, how do we... So we go back down to 26, and we go back down to 20 on the zombies, because you'd fit the core pretty efficiently in here. I guess it's kind of like the Vargeists or the Corpse Cart. You go 1 or 8, you know, or you take out the Spirit Host, but I don't think there's any need to take out the Spirit Host. You're interested in playing them. I think they've got a role in the list. So let's take out the Corpse Cart, and then need to shave some points. We go back down to 6 here. And Major Dragon Whiff. Man, imagine someone with a dragon complaining. Says a man who plays 2 dragons on the reg. I guess we just go a few more zombies to start off with, right? 23 in each unit. Yeah, I think something like that is super reasonable. Super, super reasonable. Yeah, I think that is solid. Any thoughts on that? Anything that you like, don't like particularly? We can tweak around with Elsie. There we go. That rat bastard. Love the Vargeist Crypt X box set. Managed to get a unit of Mum. We have skin walls at home out of them. That's pretty cool. You've abbreviated my name as well. Very good. Cheers, F. Cool. Yeah. That looks solid to me. All right, sweet. Well, that has been the stream. Hope you've all had a good time and all of the stuff that is good there. I am off. There will be another video tomorrow, and then on Sunday, hopefully there should be a deep dive with a high elf expert. We're going to go really into depth with it now that we've had some time to actually look at the units. Vargeists need to go into rare. That's fair. Yeah. I'm not going to repost it, but that is a good shout. Just need to make sure they're in the right slots. But yeah, there'll be more coming over the weekend. Hey, Entropy.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, you shouldn't have. How did you know I love these flowers? All right, all. Have a good evening. Enjoy your Valentine's Day if you've got any plans later on, if you're across the pond or similar.